Hi there, and welcome back to Sage River Healing. I'm Shauna. So I've recently had a follower ask me if I could do a video on stretching the bottom of your feet and your heels. So I will show you 2 stretches for your feet and your heels, but I'm also going to focus on your calves. Now, a lot of times when you have tension in your heels, it can be caused from your posture, the way that you walk on your feet, or even your calves. Now you may be wondering, how is it possible that my calves are affecting my heels or the bottom of my feet? So every single muscle, every single organ is lined with a thin connective tissue called fascia. Now this fascia connects literally from the top of our head to the bottom of our feet, to our toes. It connects your entire body. It connects every organ, every muscle together. So when you have tightness in your calves, you may have knots, any tension, what that's going to do is it's going to pull on the fascia on the bottom of your foot. So it's going to pull and create a lot of tension on the bottom of your feet. It may create enough tension that it hurts to stand or even walk on your feet. Now, for those of you with plantar fasciitis, this video will be very helpful. I firmly believe that anybody who has plantar fasciitis should get massage and have it focused on your calves. What ends up happening is you get so much tightness and tension in your calves that it's pulling on your feet so much that it's creating plantar fasciitis. Now, not always. I'm not a doctor. So, but this is my suggestion. I highly suggest it. Anytime I've had clients come in with plantar fasciitis, I work on their calves and they feel 100 times better. So, let's get started. We're going to start by, first we'll start by just doing massage. So using your hands, I'm going to have you just start kind of kneading. So it's going to look like this. You're going to press in, just press down the center of your calf. You're just pushing into it. Now pressure is really going to depend on where you're at and how you're feeling. All right. Don't overdo it. And then I want you to knead, like you're kneading dough or bread. You're just going to knead. My hands are like this, and I'm just kind of squeezing like this. All right, so you're just going to knead your calves, Do both sides. All right, you can do the center. Do squeezing, squeeze. All right. You can do nice circles. So you put your fingers like this, and you just do nice circles, especially if you find like a tight spot or you're like, oh, that kind of hurts a little bit. Do some nice little circles just in that spot. Now, if you feel shooting pain, that's not good. That means you're on a nerve. So stop being on that point. And I would suggest just doing some wider movements like this. Wider, like squeezing, and some wider squeezing. All right, do some more kneading. All right, you can even, with your thumbs, kind of just go down and up. You can do it with your hands too, down and up. All right, so there's some techniques for you for massaging your calves. All right, next we're going to look at how to use a tennis ball to self-massage your calves. All right, so I've switched positions here. You can't see my face very well because we're not focused on my face, we're focusing on your calves. So what you do is you take your tennis ball. I have a lacrosse ball here. Now, I do not suggest using a lacrosse ball. It's very hard. I would highly suggest using a tennis ball. But all you're going to do is you're going to place it under your calves. I want you to take your hands and firmly plant them, let's move that out of the way, onto the ground. You're going to push into your arms and you're going to roll on that ball with your calf. Now your calf shouldn't be flexing it. It should be relaxed. And you're just going to roll back and forth. Any points of tightness, you can stop and rest and kind of just let it melt around the ball, allowing the tension to come out, getting some knots out of those muscles there. And then you keep going. Now, it does take some arm strength to do this. So if this is not feasible for you, what you can do is just sit comfortably and you're going to go back and forth like this. Back and forth. And then you move the ball with your hand and back and forth. All right. So now you're going against the grain of your muscle, which is also really good for opening up the tissues and allowing the blood flow to happen more smoothly here. All right. So you're just going to keep doing that. I really, this might be really intense. So just be really gentle with yourself. It's easier when you can push yourself up like this because you have control over how much weight is being pushed down onto the ball. If you're like this, you kind of do, but if you're trying to lift your leg up, it's not going to be as useful. So it may create more pressure this way. But if you can push into your hands, you are in control of how hard you're pressing into that ball here. Okay, so now that you've just learned how to self-massage your calves, let's get into those stretches I promised you. So the first stretch we're going to do is called broken toe. It's not as intense as it sounds, but it is a fairly intense stretch. So what we're literally going to do is we're going to sit on our toes. So first you start by just getting on your knees. You're going to press your hands firmly into the ground, put all your weight into your hands, tuck your toes under, and literally sit on your heels. Okay? Now, you should be sitting on the pads of your feet. Your toes should be all the way under. And now it's very important to note that this can be a very intense stretch. So if you're first time doing it, you may be right here, or maybe you're even right here. Wherever you're at, wherever you feel that stretch, stay there. Do not push it. This is not one of those poses or stretches that you want to push because you could hurt your feet. So wherever you feel the stretch, stop there. And just take some really deep breaths and feel your foot stretching. Don't overdo it. Don't be in this position for too long. I have been practicing this position for about 10 years now, and I'm able to get fully into it. But it took me 5 years to be able to get completely into the pose. So let me show you what it looks like from a different direction so you can see what your feet look like. If we turn here, I tuck my toes under and I'm sitting. Now, as you see, my heels are together. Ideally, you want your heels to be all the way together. If that's just not possible and you're like this, that's okay. Just don't stay in the pose for too long. You may even be like out here. But eventually you want your feet to get to this point. You see how I'm sitting on the pads of my feet, buttocks onto my heels, back straight. All right, so that's broken toe. Now that one can be super, super intense. I suggest only doing it for very short periods of time. Maybe try doing it once a day, but don't hurt yourself. Be very gentle with your body in this stretch. All right, and next we're gonna move into downward facing dog. Now, downward facing dog is great stretch for the back of your legs, your calves, and the bottoms of your feet. So let's get to it. Today. So I'll go ahead and have you get on your hands and knees. And I want you to bring your hands about a foot in front of you. Tuck your toes under, push through the backs of your heels, and from your hips, lift up into downward facing dog, making sure to keep your hands firmly planted on the ground to help you raise up. All right, here we are. Oh yeah, go ahead and just feel how your body feels in this position right now after your long day. So maybe bending your right knee to stretch your left calf. Bending your left knee, straightening your right to feel a stretch in your right calf. And just breathe. Just breathe, coming back to neutral. All right, so that's it for today. You have learned how to self-massage your calves by using your hands and a tennis ball. And I've given you 2 really good stretches for the bottom of your feet and your calves. Now, it's really important to know that your calves' circulation is very important to the health of your feet. Now, all of your blood flow is going down and back up, right? Now, when it's coming back up, what is helping it come up? It's your calves. Your calves are literally doing the work to help bring your blood back up to your heart. So it's really important to keep your calves open and free of tension and knots. So I highly suggest, even if you're not having issues with your feet or you don't have plantar fasciitis, try it out. Try doing some self-massage on your calves. Try doing some stretches and see how you do. All right, so that's it for this week. Please feel free to leave me any questions and comments. I love hearing from you guys. And you can follow me via Facebook or Instagram at Sage River Healing, and I'll leave a link to my website. So thank you for joining me this week, and I'll see you all next week.